This week, I'm going to start by checking in with my crops.
Checking in with corn crops.
A few nights ago, I had just taken the Lord's medicine. I was winding down for the evening. And I proceeded to freak out about dying alone.
I'm gonna die alone. I'm gonna die alone. I'm dying alone.
And then after I'd gathered myself,
Let go and let live. Let go and let live.
I sat up and I took a look at my garden. And I had an epiphany, that or a cockamamie idea, I'm not sure, but it seems to make sense to me. Earlier in the year, when I was taking care of my friend John's plants, I'm sure editing Cornelius can pull up some footage of that.
Here you go, but I don't like how comfortable you're getting addressing me.
Anyways, and I had this one plant that was very vine-like as well, and then I put in those stakes, and as I did that, the leaves started to die one at a time going on up. A lot like this bean plant, actually. Essentially, my thought is that not all vines are meant to grow up straight into the sky. It's a lot like if I were to tie up my right arm with this rather decorative, yet comfortable way, and then proceeded to just string myself up like a spring chicken. Sure, it's fun for a few hours, but after a while, the blood's not going to be running up there, and this thing's going to wither away. And Lord knows I don't have a lot left on my right side to wither away.
Oh, into a bit of bondage there now, are we?
Well, come on now. Now's no time to air our dirty laundry. Wow, really living my truth there, huh? The pattern and then subsequent pan saga continues. I'm going to start by once again pinning on the old pattern. Trace this out. But then I'm going to take the pattern that I did in the last episode. Let me find that front piece. There it is. And I'm going to pin this one on as well. And I've only really drawn the lines of where it differs, but that's all I'm really interested in anyways. It's along the top here that I took out quite a bit, which I believe I went in 3/4 along the top. So I'm going to make that half that width. So at about 3/8 of an inch, which is about there, roughly the middle. And then I'm using this third color. Repeat this process with the back piece as well. Trace this one out as well. Line that up just like that, okay. Pin this one on as well. Once again. With this back piece, there's a couple things I'm going to do. Number one, I'm going to make this curve here more shallow so that it adds in more fabric. And then what I'm going to do is bring it up to meet this line in the back here, because I do like that height. Also bring in a little fabric up higher on the hips, and I'm going to do that by just reducing the size of the pleat in the back here, which I realize is quite large to begin with. It doesn't need to be that big. And now, it's a good thing I have a lot of this muslin fabric left. Fold over. And then just trim it out. Repeat this process with the back panel as well. Trim, 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 chiroo. I learned from last week's video and actually took this out last night, so I'm not left doing that. And I gotta say, I've done so many zippers on all these different test pair pants. I actually know how to do it off by heart now. It's been good practice. Unintentional consequence of having made so many of these patterns. Good thing, I would say, though. No? And sewing all these sample pants, making this zipper is about half the work, and then the other half is just about sewing some long distances along the sides. Oh boy, that's not right. I've just bent my needle. All right, well, let's swap out the needle. Back to sewing. Okay, zipper's on. Now the back pieces. And up first. Stitch close that pleat along the back here. And then sew those two back panels together. Now I'm going to take this front panel again, line up the crotch points along the bottom here. If these were nice pants, I might pin it, but and then with the inside of the leg sewn together, I do the same thing around the outside. They are ready to try on, but first I'm going to give them a little pressing on the outside seam. It's always this sort of strange folding that happens after fabric has been sewn. Just bend the fabric back along the seam so that way it sits a little nicer. There we go.
think I finally got myself a pattern. It's not perfect yet. Not a bad fit, if I do say so myself. They're comfortable in and around here. They're fitted, but not too tight. There is one slight tweak I'm gonna make though. I measured myself around my quads the other day, at the top here, and then down at the calf as well. The reason being is, if you look closely, you'll notice that this leg is quite straight, and then this one has a curve to it. And I quite heavily favor this leg over this one. And after my measurements, I realized that this one is 1.5 inches thicker in diameter here, and then 3/4 of an inch here. While I had them on, I gave myself a marking of where the top and bottom of my quads are. So that is 7 to 17 basically. My calf is at 8 and 18. Oh, that's easy enough to remember. 7 and 17, 8 and 18. Go like this, curve in, and then bring that along the bottom like so till it meets up here. So I'll go straight along the bottom like this, then curve to the inside of the leg like that. Now I can follow those lines that I just drew. Flip them over, and then do the one on the outside along the hip. And again, I gotta keep these curves nice and gradual. I'm gonna try them on one more time. Make sure that that little edit didn't mess them up. Yeah. Got a little bubble here though. I may have to smoothen that out a little bit when I make the actual pattern, but yeah, I think that does it. So what I'm gonna do to finish out is make a second set of pattern pieces based on the ones I made at the beginning of this video, except for the right side of my body. Trace out both of these. So what did I say? 7 and 17 on the outside. So 7 is roughly here. Yeah, 8 and 18. And so rather than making such a drastic shift on the outside, I think I'm actually gonna do it, transfer it to both sides. So then it only becomes 3/8, which is about here. Curve in. Like so. This can be more gradual. Slowly arch it in. And bring it in. For the back as well, let me measure over only up to here. 3/8 on the inside as well. And then curve it down to meet the rest of the leg there on a gentle slope. Curve that round and down. And then do the same thing, bringing it in ever so slightly for the calf. Let me just make this abundantly clear which pattern piece is which. Left side, right side. And then I think we're gonna end out checking in with corn scraps. checking in one more time. I'm gonna harvest these beans. Pods have gone all hard and crispy. And so in here, oh, look at that. 2 of the cutest little beans I have ever seen. Aren't those just adorable beans? These other ones as well. Equally adorable in size. And now this one has completely died, so the one that had the pod go bad on me from here up seems to be dying, so I'm going to trim that one there. And then this one seems like might be growing again as well, except for the top there. Trim that off, let that go here. There are a couple more pods here, so let's see if those, if my theory is correct, should do a little better than these other ones.
All day I've been thinking about you, babe. You're my one desire. Gonna wrap my arms around you and hold you close to me. Oh, babe, I wanna taste your lips. I wanna be your fantasy. Yeah.